You have played Astro Bot, which I am incredibly excited for. I'm so excited to hear you talk about it, and I can't believe you've played it.
I can't believe I've played it. You know, it's not been announced for very long, and here I am at Summer Game Fest with a DualSense controller in my hands playing Astro Bot. I played it for 45 whole minutes. I will come out straight away and say, Rosie, I did not play or see Parappa Bot, because I know you have probably been going mad about that.
Do you think they held off Parappa Bot just for me?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me do that, Rosie, I'm sure. There's no way they'd let me play or see Parappa Bot before you. So you're safe. But I did play a selection of levels. There were 4 levels available to me. Actually 5, but I didn't get to the 5th. And I will tell you about that hilarious episode at the end. So there were 2 sort of like traditional levels that I had access to. The first one was called Sky Garden, which was a very... It's classic what you would think of when you think of Astro Bot, like beautiful, colourful, vibrant, playful level. And for the entire time I was playing it, I just had a massive grin on my face, because it's everything you'd want. It's just, it's playful. You know, there's just stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there, but it's just in there because it's fun. So you're just playing around with certain materials, for instance. There's like a balloon type thing you can jump up and down on. And just the physics of the rubbery material of this balloon, the way it flexes under Astro as he lands on it, and the sort of like wavy bounciness of it. It's hard to articulate, but when you see it in motion, and more importantly, when you feel it in the DualSense as well, because the way that the haptic feedback works is, you know, it's every bit as brilliant as you remembered from Astro's Playroom. Everything looks amazing, but also everything feels amazing too. I spent a good 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning just mucking around, playing with stuff. What can I touch? What can I jump on? What can I bounce off? What can I do over here? And I quickly realized, oh my god, I've got to start getting through this stuff, otherwise I'm going to be here for ages. But sort of like the way you go through the level, it's classic platforming stuff that you would expect if you've played Astro's Playroom before. Rescuing bots is like a thing, so this is going to be, as Astro's Playroom was, a game that completionists, people who like collecting everything from every level, they're going to love. So in each level there are some bots you have to find and rescue. Some of them are in obvious places, some of them are in less obvious places, and you'll have to solve little environmental puzzles to access and reveal them. In the second level I played, I did not find all of the bots. I missed 2 of them, and I thought I was, you know, really going through it quite thoroughly. So there are certainly going to be some really secret hidden bots in there. But for Sky Garden, I think there were 7 bots I had to find, and I did find all of them. Occasionally you'll get special bots, which are PlayStation-specific characters. So in Sky Garden,
who did you see?
I found Ratchet and I found Rivet. And when you save the bots, they go inside an on-screen DualSense controller, and you can zoom in on them, and you see them inside the controller waving at you and like having a little party. And of course you can you can shake the DualSense controller and they start like rumbling around. You can toss them like a pancake. You can like flip the DualSense and it'll sort of like leap out the top of it and then land back in it again. I wasted way too much time doing that, Rosie. That's why I was like, oh, look what you can do. And I was just laughing and giggling to myself as I, threw my little bots around in my DualSense.
So far, it is sounding like a mixture between the Playroom, Astro Bot Rescue Mission, and Astro's Playroom. It's sounding as if they've merged so many elements from all 3 of the games, all into this one product, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they've thought to themselves, let's make the ultimate Astro Bot experience with everything everyone loves from all of the other games all bundled into one, with a bunch of new stuff as well, and that's like the exciting stuff. So in Sky Garden, half of the level, all of a sudden you get through one area and you open up this water slide, and you're shooting down this water slide, and all of a sudden you're in like a watery area, and there's like underwater bits you can go in. It's hard to explain, but there are round bubbles of water with zips on, and you have to jump on them and unzip them, and all the water comes flooding out. And it's one of the most satisfying things I think I've ever done in a game. Just the feeling of the zip in the DualSense controller as you jump on the top and unzip it, and all this water just comes glugging out. Oh, it was so good. I'm obviously a sucker for water physics anyway, and these ones were just very pleasing. But then, towards the end of the level, I got like a little power-up for Astro, which was like a thing that goes on his back. It was like an inflatable balloon type thing, which allows you to float up towards the end of the level. You held down R2 to inflate it, and you get to float upwards. But then also, you can press R2 again once it's fully inflated to rapidly deflate it, and it does that funny balloon sound, which like as you go like, deflating downwards. It's just, you know, a little extra tweak to the platforming. It feels like the game is constantly making you do something different. You'll only spend like a minute doing one thing before the game is introducing you to a new mechanic or a new power-up or a new bit of environmental puzzling. There's always something new to do, or something to poke, or something to play with, or something to collect. And all the time it's just that patented, joyous, vibrant Astro vibe. I was just laughing playing it. It was just so much unadulterated fun. But that was the first level of 4 that I got to play. The second level was called Construction Derby, which I thought was a lovely little, playful nod to Destruction Derby, the game. But this is essentially like a construction site in midair that you have to navigate through. And in this level, the sort of power-up that I got was like a little robot dog who goes on your back. You probably saw him in the trailer. He gives you like a little lateral burst of rocket boost power. So you have to use him to leap over larger gaps, or you have to use him to like break through glass barriers, and there's like a little bit of puzzle solving involving that as well. And it got quite challenging, this level, towards the end. There's like a series of bounce pads that you have to rocket into as the dog, and Astro starts pinballing around all of these bounce pads, and you have to avoid enemies and use the rocket boost power to actually smash into certain enemies that can only be destroyed by doing this skill. And it was just really sort of intricately designed platforming levels. I think that's the thing that people often forget about Astro. They think of just, oh, it's colourful, it's fun, it's funny, it's got loads of PlayStation Easter eggs in it, forgetting the fact that it's actually a very well put together and intricately designed platformer. And for, like yourself, Rosie, have grown up with the likes of Crash Bandicoot and those classic PlayStation platformers, you know.
Yeah.
I think this is absolutely ideal. You know, it's a celebration of PlayStation. It feels nostalgic at the same time as feeling incredibly modern and innovative. And I absolutely loved it. For me, it was like the perfect amount of challenge where you'd look at it for one moment and think, oh, how am I going to get through this? And then you figure it out, and it's just incredibly satisfying, puzzling out how to platform your way through these levels. And I can't wait to find out what other power-ups are going to be in other levels. And I was looking at it's like a galactic world map, and there must have been a good 10 to 12 levels there. Quite a lot of them were locked away for this demo build that I got to play as. And just looking at them thinking, my God, there's so much here. Like, there's so much here. There's so much to explore. And then the last sort of traditional level I played was I got to play a boss fight. You probably saw in the trailer, like the big red octopus boy.
Yes.
I got to fight him. And for this level, Astro gets like a little, he gets boxing gloves power up. So essentially you have a boxing fight with this enormous red octopus.
Amazing.
And like, just describing the boss fight, it sounds very much like a traditional boss fight. You know, you learn the octopus's attack patterns, you interrupt them, you weaken him, you bring him down so he's vulnerable, and then you punch him in the face. But in play, like, the way the octopus uses the environment, so you're like on a little island of sand, and he's like in the water around you, firing stuff at you. He's punching down. All of his tentacles have boxing gloves on them, by the way. So he's punching down into the sand with his boxing gloves. Sometimes he's punching up from beyond the sand. Sometimes he's shooting stuff out at you. And then you'll you'll get a punch in and you'll weaken him. And then you'll just get to go to town on one of his tentacles. And ultimately, it usually ends with you giving him a massive right hook to the face and sending him spiraling off into a different part of the ocean. And it's, it wasn't like, we're not talking mega difficulty here, but it was difficult enough that I died a couple of times and had to really think about and learn the attack patterns of this boss to get the best of him. But there was an amazing thing, like the final phase of it was he sort of like sucks all the water, all of the ocean, like the sea just parts. And you very quickly have to platform your way through the seabed before he surges all of the water back in. So you've got like a very limited time to like, quickly grapple my way through this. So the boxing gloves also act as like a grappling hook. So you can swing in through this little underwater bit, and then he'll make all the sea crash in again. And just, visually it looks absolutely incredible. And you finish him off in a very satisfying manner, which is you get right up in his face and you just punch both of his eyes out and he goes flying off into the distance. And at the end of the fight, there is like you see a little boat in the water, and you get on the boat, and Kratos and Atreus bots are in the boat. And I did a little squeal of excitement.
Oh, how wonderful.
Upon meeting Kratos and Atreus. And it was everything I wanted it to be and more. Just like pure fun, but so inventive, so clever, always showing you something new. The feeling of it just is so tactile. You get a sense of everything in the world, everything in the environment. You feel all the environments. You feel the water. You feel the sand. You feel it when you're getting smacked by an enemy. When you're inside like the little DualSense rocket ship and you're holding L2 and R2 to blast off into the next area, you really feel that. It's just, it's wonderful. It really is.
I think that is just everything that I hoped this game would be and already knew this game would be. It's just so fantastic to hear you saying exactly what I was hoping Astro Bot would be. I'm literally about to explode, Rob.
You are going to love it, Rosie, and I've not got on to the bit that I think you're going to love the most. So those 3 levels took me maybe half an hour, so I had like 15 minutes left, and I had 1 level left that I could see that I could do, and it's like this. It only lasts about a minute, but it's very challenging. So it's sort of like the network speedrun levels in Astro's Playroom, although it wasn't a timed level. It's essentially like a platforming trial, like a very challenging little bit of platforming that you have to navigate through to save. It was Jack from Jack and Daxter, a little Jack bot. He's like at the end.
Jack!
This took me the remaining 15 minutes of my playtime to successfully navigate my way through this level. Considering it only takes about 1 minute when you successfully do it, I think you can get a sense of how many times I died. And I was like, oh my God, just like a bunch of spinning spike chains you have to leap over. And at the end, I finally did it. And I was like, yes, I've done absolutely everything that there is to see in this Astro Bot demo right at the cusp of when my time with the game is up. And then the PlayStation PR came over to me and he's like, actually, you've just unlocked a harder one, but we haven't got time now. You're going to have to come and play another game. So there was like an extra level that I could have played. I thought I had really heroically done the hardest thing available to me, but no, all I had done was just unlocked the next hardest thing. So if you want like a sense of what the challenge is going to be like, there's like really challenging platforming stuff locked away for people. And as I was playing it, I was thinking, Rosie's going to love this. Rosie's absolutely going to love this.
Well, I'm honoured you were thinking of me with the difficult platforming challenges, but also with Astro, that's what's so good about them. The Astro games really are for everyone. They've got your really well-balanced platforming challenges, but there's also those really tough challenges for those who want a bit more of a kick. But Rob, I'm genuinely about to explode, so I'm going to have to stop you here because I've got to hold in this explosion of excitement until the 6th of September, which is when Astro Bot comes out on PS5. Rob, thank you so much for talking to us about Astro Bot.
You're very welcome, Rosie. It was I've got to play the games, Rosie. It's a hard job, but I will sacrifice myself for this noble mission.
Well, thank you for carrying this heavy, heavy burden. And everyone in the chat, please let us know how excited you are for Astro Bot.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more updates.